Finally, I did it. I quit my day job. Welcome, guys, to The Inspiring Talk. My name is Vijay Gautam. I'm host for this show. Each week, I interview today's most successful and inspiring personalities to help you realize your inner potential. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into this bonus episode of the Inspiring Talk podcast. If you'd like to quit your day job to follow your passion, keep listening as I share how I did the exact same last week. Here's a bit of background. I have been working as a research scientist at a multinational pharmaceutical company for little over 3 years now. I enjoyed working there for a year, and almost after 1.5 years, I was losing interest in what I was doing. I started feeling bad about myself and eventually realized that I was not tapping into my true potential. I kept asking myself, is it something that I want to do all my life? And the answer for almost all of the time was a big no. Then what I'm going to do about this now? I was absolutely clueless. This happened for several months. I thought of several ideas, but nothing ignited that fire in me. I wanted to do something, but didn't know what. It happens to us, right? We know that we don't want to do what we are doing right now, and also we don't know what should we be doing the next. That's quite frustrating. I kept thinking of ideas that seemed interesting, but those used to fade within few days. One thing, however, I knew I loved doing was talking and sharing the ideas that I have been consuming from self-help books and workshops and seminars that I have attended for a few years. And in the process, I discovered this beautiful medium of podcasting. The more I listened to them, more I fell in love with this medium and the valuable content that they were serving. I looked for the self-help podcast in India and I found none. Boom! There I have my idea. I wanted to start a podcast and inspire people and learn from the best. After a few research, I went forward and made a checklist of all the minute things that I need to do to launch my own podcast. Remember, it is very, very important for us to have clarity of tasks we need to complete in order to achieve our goals. I kept ticking off those tasks from my list, and after a few months, I have my podcast launched. So that's the first step on your journey to quit your job. Figure out what you want to do next. And it might take time because many ideas will come to your head and you will not feel that ignition. So try different things, go out and meet people, travel and see how people are doing things. Keep exploring. You don't have to stick to one thing. Try something for a few months or maybe a few weeks, and if you are not having fun, find something else. Just keep doing this unless you feel that there's something that you enjoy doing the most than anything else. After almost 5 months of doing my podcast, I started seeing growth of the listeners of my show and got some amazing guests, and I built great network, and most importantly, I was still having fun. I was staying awake till midnight creating episodes. That's it. I planned to leave my job by the end of 2018. I discussed this with a very dear friend of mine, Jagesh Jain. He is a employability coach based in Mumbai. And the moment I said I'm quitting my job by the end of this year, he asked me a very simple question. How are you going to make money the next day you quit your job? I simply replied, I will figure it out after quitting it. Jogesh himself has gone through this phase of quitting his job without having solid source of income, and he faced a lot of challenges because of that. And he said it took him over a year to stand on his feet. Jogesh simply said, first figure out how you are going to make money before you put on paper. And I thought he was making a lot of sense. After that conversation with Jogesh, I went on to create a podcast coaching and consulting program, and some money started flowing in. Even though that was not a big amount, but it was enough to keep me going. So that's step number 2. If you yourself are considering to quit your job, make sure that you have that conversation with someone who has already done that so that you won't make those mistakes and transition is as swift as possible. And that's where your network can be of help tremendously. Look for someone who has already done that, whom you know and trust, and seek advice from them. Sometimes just a simple question like Jogesh asked me can make a whole difference. Step number 3, as you might have guessed by now, is to have some money flowing in consistently every month while you are still at job. This is the validation that your idea is going to work. Let's listen to this great advice from Kiruba Sankar, another friend of mine and an entrepreneur. You were working on a 9-to-5 job and gave that up to start working for yourself. Take us there to the first decision or the first step that you have taken that changed your life.
The first step that changed my life was when I started to come across a website called Scriptlands. It's a site almost like freelancer.com or upwork.com. That's very popular now. So that gave me an opportunity to pitch for projects that I can actually do in the evenings and also over the weekends. And slowly I started to find that I can have supplemental income. And over a period of time, this income started to be fairly sufficient enough for me to gather my guts and to put in my papers and come out, knowing very well that my family will not starve, that I don't have to worry. So I think that was the moonlighting was a very powerful step for me to step out of a 9-to-5 job and get into entrepreneurship.
Just ask yourself, is there a way you can work between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. and make some side income so that your basic needs are taken care of? Once that side income is big enough, you will have that confidence on yourself and you will feel you no longer need that job. In my case, once I started coaching and consulting people, I saw more and more opportunities coming my way. And I started making the amount that I was making on my day job very comfortably with my side hustle. I was now ready to quit the job. But still, I wanted to play safe and have some savings in case something goes wrong. So I kept working late night and on weekends to have some savings on my bank. So even if I'm not making any money, at least for a year, I should be able to survive. So this amount need not necessarily be a huge amount, but enough for you to survive for a year, fulfilling your basic needs. You need to be a bit frugal here. So if you are planning to upgrade your phone or get a new car or upgrade your apartment, just postpone it till the time you get back to your feet. That's the step number 4. Have savings enough to fulfill your basic need at least for a year. Once I have done all of that, I put on those paper. Now, I still had a few more weeks while serving notice period to plan my immediate actions. So I started reaching out to potential clients, seeking for speaking assignments, planning workshops and attending events and so on. So I filled my calendar with tasks and activities for next 2 months. It is important to have enough work for you after you quit because now you are getting extra 8 hours to work on your dreams. You need to plan to dedicate good amount of that time in learning and upgrading yourself. Take some courses, attend workshops and events, meet people, and keep growing your network. So, here are a few things that I'm doing right now after I quit my job last week. I'm taking all the courses that I have purchased and are waiting on my inbox for months now. And after that, I'll be traveling to Nepal to spend time with my grandmother and get some headspace. And I'll also be speaking there at International Leo Youth Camp, and I'll be conducting a podcast workshop there. And after coming back from Nepal, I'll be traveling to Mumbai for a podcast workshop there. And also, I'll be attending Jack Canfield's workshop in early January. And at the end of January, I'll be flying to Chennai to attend Professional Speakers Association of India's convention. So that's the step number 5. Plan your immediate actions for next couple of months so that you won't have time to let negative thoughts come into your head. And finally, it's time to move. Take that action. Get out of your 9-to-5 job to work 24/7 for yourself and for your dreams. As I mentioned earlier, just don't jump without proper planning. But also, don't make excuses and wait too long to decide. Yes, there's uncertainty, and I think that's where the fun is. So don't let fear of failure come into your way, because that's what stops most people from quitting the job they don't love to do something they are absolutely passionate about. This is what Kiruva thinks on why people cannot take that plunge. What do you think stops a lot of people from taking action?
I think just the insecurity. It's almost like jumping into the deep end of a swimming pool. The fear is always, oh my goodness, what if I drown? But 99% of the people, they jump in, they will find a way to stay afloat. And they will learn swimming very quickly. So same thing with life. I think it is just that uncertainty. Plus, working for a job and getting a regular salary also puts you in a state of lull, in a state of comfort. Mm-hmm. When you're already, when you have that comfortable life, then why would you want to get into a life that is full of uncertainty, right? So I think that's what stops many people from taking the hard route.
Is there the fear of failure, or they are too afraid that what if I drown and fail? I think that's. I also believe that that's one thing that stops people from taking actions.
It's also the fear of. It's the fear of taboo. It's the fear of what others think. It's the fear of what the society will make out of you. Because India as a society actually comes very hard on failure. People look down upon people who fail. So people don't want to be seen as failure. I think that's the greater intimidation for people to step into entrepreneurship. Don't put yourself in state of lull. If you are not happy and complaining at your job, do something to change it. Find another job or quit it and do what you love the most. You won't regret. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Inspiring Talk podcast. I hope you got some inspiration or learned something. If you did, make sure to share this episode with your friends and family. Do let me know what you think about this show by recording your message at theinspiringtalk.com/speak. That is theinspiringtalk.com/SPEAK. Speak. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you in the next. Now, go out there and do something inspiring.